Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Highlight Crafts on our Facebook Live. My name's Stephanie Waitman. I'm so sorry earlier, we just do not know what happened. It's never been that bad before, but earlier today, if you were watching us, you'll know we had gremlins in the pipeline. Andrew did manage, because I was merrily just making stuff. Andrew did manage to record some of it and we'll upload that to YouTube. But we're going to start with our fabulous product that we've got tonight. And we've got Through the Frosted Glass. Now, I'm going to show you this item. I've got a couple of bit of news updates for you as well, because it has been the craziest, busiest day today. And you can see there on the screen, this is our sort of more traditional to Red Robin Christmas. For me, one of the most exciting parts of it is our bauble, because that bauble is just so easy to work with when you're looking with acetate and vellums and just creating shaker shapes with it. You're actually going to save £30.95. And that means that if you're a Nest member, you're actually going to save £36.95 and the price comes down to £53.99. You can PayPal on 3 or you can clear pay on 4, which brings it down to £13.49. So guys, I just want to explain to you a couple of things about the clear pay and the PayPal. Those are options when you get to the checkout and you decide whether you want to use those. We don't mind, we're happy to do whatever you want to do. But also the other thing is, we talk about Nest members. So Robins or Two Red Robins has a Robins Nest membership. You'll find all the details on the Highlight Craft website. In fact, we can show you that just there. It gives you 10% off all your purchases. You get free delivery on orders over £25, early access to products. There's just lots of other things about it. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say Nest members, that's what it is. Right, we're going to come back into the product because we don't need to spend ages talking about all the other elements. We can just talk about product. So first of all, this is one of the collections that we've got. And for me, what's really exciting about this one is the texture that you've got here on the Christmas rose and how it looks when you cut it from vellum. It just looks so exquisite. And then when it's layered up and dimensional like this one is, and I'm just going to lift a piece of my card so you can see it, it really just looks beautiful. And that is what this is all about. Now, all of the coloured pieces that you're seeing actually come from a printed sheet, which is downloadable from the Highlight Crafts website. It's free. And it's what we call our reflections. So you print that sheet off, use your die to cut it out, print it onto whatever surface you want, and they're the results that you're going to get. So that's the first of the collections that we've got for you, and that one's a festive Posey. This one is the next one of them, and we've got these lovely pine cones in here, the berries as well, giving us that really brightness. And then a lot of almost fern that's all quite blue in here, which again is giving us a lot of contrast in the design. That one's called a Winter Posey. Now this is all the extra elements to be able to expand all those pieces. So imagine taking something like this and then being able to expand it. This one's been printed onto card where this one's on vellum, so slight differences in colours, but this shows you what that actually looks like. So there are nature's elements. Then we've got our little robin. Now, this one is Morris. That's right, just wanted to double, yes, it is Morris. He's Morris the Messenger. And I'd just like to mention about this outline die. So on a lot of our dies, not only do you get the inside, but you also get the outline. And they're great for shaped cards. They're really good if you want to create dimensional projects. You need a mat to be able to strengthen it. But also, I'm going to give you a sneaky peek of something that we're launching on Sunday, on Seamless Sunday, that is just a brand new product. And I've been waiting to get there, and it's going to change everything we can do as Red Robins, Nest members and Red Robin fans. And then this is the bauble. And wow, not only is it beautifully nested, But when you cut it out and print it onto vellum, look at it, it's absolutely exquisite. It lends itself perfectly to you doing your shaker projects. And this one with the little bauble there in the robin's mouth and all of these other elements, you would, instead of buying just one die and paying for one die, because of the way we nest them, these we call our nested image dies, because of that, when you even get down to this little tiny one, all of those are included in one set. And if we were paying for that as separate metal, you'd be looking at about £39, £49. But you're only paying $53.99 for the whole collection if you're a Nest member. So really, really affordable. And then our wreath. Now, for me, this has got so much detail in it, but it's also very versatile in some of the things that we can do with it. And I'm going to excuse myself for a second while you're looking at on a close-up, because I'm just going to go and reach my samples, which I didn't do before I sat down. And sorry about that. But anyway, I'm back, so we can come back and see me. So I want to just show you a few examples of what you can do with this collection. So I'm just going to move this piece of cardstock in here so I've got some of the detail. Right, so this one, oh gosh, beautiful. It's on a wooden embroidery hoop. It's a piece of vellum behind. All the elements have been put together. And then this splattering of snow that you've got on here is actually Cadence. And it's our Cadence pearlescent spray. And that's also on a deal. I think it's called Festive Bundle or something like that. If we've got any left, you'll be able to have a look at that. But I just love the fact you've got the translucence of the actual vellum behind it. Right, got some more for you. And these I need to also congratulate our design team members because they've done a fabulous job. Now, this was actually done as a tunnel card, but I've opened the side up because I want to show you this. I think this would make the most amazing book. To be able to look at each of these elements and see them as individual designs and have that as a book, I think really lends itself to being a luxury card, maybe to mum and dad or sister and brother-in-law, or from our family to your family, you know, best friends. And you'll notice that little Robin has got a tiny bit of mistletoe in his beak. And if I open up to this design, what you can see here is the bauble, has been used again as the aperture. And each time the bauble's been cut, it's then been used at the back as this piece to give us that depth and dimension. So that's that one. Then I wanted to share, no, not that one. I wanted to share, where are you here? This one first. I'll come back to that in a second. So Acetate Baubles, we mentioned those. Over the edge, this one has got a card back on it, and it's got all of that decoration inside. The glitter is over the top, so it's on inside, but it's just been brushed over the top as well. Then why does it go so fast when there's no problems with the internet? I mean, you know what, this morning it was just a disaster, and then today now it's going really, really fast. This is another one there as a hanging wreath. It's actually really substantial. So I would, again, you know what, this is luxury card making, and it's the kind of thing that I think when you send it to friends, it gives them that wow factor. And then this one is using a mirror card or holographic mirror behind the bauble. That one's acetate on top, but look at it, it's just exquisite. And if I lift this up so that you get a full view of it, I'm just going to open up the back and then show you that full view so you can see. And in fact, from the side, and it's got those supports in it to be able to support it. But isn't that just, I mean, that, wow, it's just stunning. So this is our Through the Frosted Glass collection. And I have got some more samples. There's loads of examples of it actually on the Highlight Crafts website. I'm going to just show you a couple of other designs. I'm just going to say a few hellos. Good evening, Mary. How are you? Lorraine, hi from a very hot Estepona. Oh gosh, I'm hoping it's going to stay warm because we want to barbecue tonight. Hope the gremlins are going to behave, from Mary. Dawn, hi, lovely to hear from you. Deborah, hello. Then I've got Julie, hi, how are you? And Morwen, and hello to Teresa, Marion, Maggie, Fiona, Kath. It's really good to actually say hello to you all. And Diana, thank you for messaging in. And Sarah and Fiona and Anna. Wow, Anna's in Norway. Wow, you guys are coming in thick and fast. It's interesting. I was watching a little bit of Dawn Bibby's Facebook Live the other night, and she was getting so many messages. I was like, well, I never get that many. I'm actually having dinner with her on Saturday night, so we'll see what gossip we've got to share next week. Okay, right, we're going to demo in just a second, but before we do, I'm going to get this little sneaky peek out the way because I want to show you this. This is nothing to do with Christmas, by the way, but it will be going forward. So this has created the biggest amount of fuss in the office that we've had for ages. Not because of the size of Lauren's trainers, but because she actually decorated them last night. Now, you'll recognise all of these because it's one of our dies. So this sunflower is one of the dies that we had for 2 red robins. So what have we done? Well, it's pretty special because we've now made it possible for you to use all of your outline dies actually on the fabric, and it cuts it out just perfectly. Where does that one go? It goes just there, that one. It cuts it out perfectly. You do need a metal shim, but I'm going to be sharing that with you and how to do that on Seamless Sunday. But I just wanted to show you these because I'm going to take these to the studio with me, but I think they're going to disappear. Everybody has got excited about sticking red robins all over, well, everywhere they can. And I'm actually doing myself a t-shirt. So I'm a little bit excited about that. And I'm going to try and do stuff so that I can always wear it on these programs. Anyway, right. So what I've got is, I'm just want to share with you this one. This was one that I did a couple of days ago, and it was using the Christmas Eve collection, which is back in stock, by the way. But it actually has got this mirror behind it. So you can see that mirror effect that we've got there, which looks really, really effective. And then I used some of my Cadence Snow. Well, it actually isn't Cadence Snow. It's actually Cadence Gesso to create the depth that I've got here. But what I wanted to do for you now is I've got everything ready to show you a couple of projects. So I'm just going to put this down. So that's just another idea for you. Oh, and let me just explain how I did this. I took a viewfinder. So that's my viewfinder. And I sprayed the back of it with silver mirror. Then I built my scene up. Then I took a piece of acetate and I scored it about the width of a ruler on either side in. It was slightly wider than the card, so I've got a little dome. And I then put 2 white pieces of cardstock over the edge to make it nice and tidy. Okay, so that's just a quick how-to there. So what I've got here, and this is just a little bit exciting, is, first of all, this one is an acetate bauble, and I've already started to build up the design using the vellum that I've cut. Then the next part of this is to take another acetate bauble, and this time, and I did something a little bit similar in the class that the one with the gremlins, and I cut out one of these from this piece of acetate that's been sprayed with the Wreath. So that's another option that you could do. But what I'm going to do here is, because it was such a disaster this morning and I got asked how you can do this particular project, I want to just show you a couple of elements of it that I'm going to pull together. And just before I move on, so I'm using, so I've got two different GSMs of acetate. This one is about 140 microns, I think, but it's lightweight and it's printable. This one is my heavyweight, and that one is actually from the construction acetate. So the construction acetate, much, much heavier in weight, if I turn it that way around, and much, much more durable. You can hear it sort of pinging. And if I just turn that over and I put the vellum over the top, you can see, and turn that off, you can see how you can still see elements of that showing through. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to build myself a little project. And inside here, I'm going to use some of the elements that I've already assembled. So here we've got, I'm going to show you a few different options. So here we've got, this is one of the designs that's in the Through the Frosted Glass collection. But I'm also going to come into some elements that are from one of the other collections. A lot of you bought this. It sold out in record time. So, and what I want to show you is that if I just pop these in here, and I'm just going to create myself a little snow scene and just put them like that, and if I put this here, and Emma, I know you've just said you've got some gesso that comes in a tube. Absolutely, it would work. So look at how we've gone from this, which looks nice, but look at how much difference it makes if I build this scene up. So I've got here, and put that one right behind there. Make sure they're not all the same height, because that doesn't look right. And I put this over the top. It just finishes off the design, makes it more dimensional, but it actually makes it more exciting. So if we look at the layers, you've got the vellum on top, you've got the die cuts inside, and you can see this one with the gesso on, it's much stronger. And then also this one is the vellum. Now, so when we come to assemble all of this, I showed you a little trick earlier that used red liner tape to be able to bring these two items together. I'm going to show you how I would glue this one. So first of all, when you glue onto vellums, you can end up with a little bit of water underneath, and it can sort of get a little bit crinkled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my red liner tape, and I'm just going to start off with a small little strip of it here, and reach the scissors. And this is how I would line everything up. And thank you, Teresa, for your comment about the mirror spray. She actually said it's a dream. So there, that one is going to go there. So you'll see how that little bit of tape is actually going to support this. This one's going to go there, and that one is going to go there. So I'm going to place that one on next, and then this one on last. And they are all now perfectly stuck with one piece of tape on the back. So it's not, it doesn't look unsightly. And that is actually really nicely finished. Then, to get the rest of it together, I would take, again, I'm just going to take some of my tape. I'm just going to put that piece on the side because it may have some little bits on it. And I'm just going to take a couple of pieces. And naturally, you would think of putting them across the top, but we're not. We're going to stick them vertically. And you're not just going to stick them vertically, but we're actually going to trim them where it comes to a curve here. We're going to trim that off at an angle. So it's following the curve of the design. So you can just see those two pieces. And we need one more of them, because if I just put them on the sides, it looks like I've glued it. Well, actually, I'm not going to do one more. I'm going to do two more. So if I put another one there, and I make sure that that's lined up, and another one just there, and I make sure that that's lined up. And this is all about thinking about the design. I'm just going to take that tiny piece off there. So thinking about the design and how we can bring it all together. So I'm just taking the back off those little pieces. I'll get the static out the way, because the red liner tape can be quite static. Take those off. I'm going to use my wet glue round this top edge. Now, just on here, and I'm just going to put my glasses on because I can't see. And let's get you out. It's nearly run out, this one, but there's a little bit left in it, and oops, be enough. I don't want to miss any of it at all, because I'm quite thrifty like that. So I've just got the glue up there and the tape there, and that is going to be enough. Oh, try not to get your glue. Do you know, it has been one of those days today. I've had paint all over me. In fact, it's been quite interesting, because I was talking to Andrew about it, and we were talking about the gremlins, and it really was one of those days where they just didn't matter what we did. Literally, everybody was having the same challenges. So now it's really quite neat, apart from this little bit that we've got here. So how do we deal with this? Well, if this is going to be sent as a card, first of all, we're going to want to be able to put a little message on it. So what I would do here is go into my little panels, of which I have a few, and I've got one that's already cut into. Can't find it. Where are you? Where's my little panel? Here it is. This is the one I was looking for. So I'm going to cut just there, and then I'm going to fold that just in half like that. Make sure that it's perfectly level across the bottom, because it currently isn't. Sometimes you might want to, if you're being really fancy, just curve your corners. So you can get corner punches to do this, but just to get that extra little bit of detail so it looks nicer. Then we turn this over, and we need it to cover up that piece of detail. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that over like that. I'm going to fold that piece like that. So I've now created a proper little stand, and I'm going to put my tape just there on that tree, and I need to come directly above it to here, which is where the other tape is, and that's going to go there. And we're going to take the back off, and if I've done this well, it should work without us having to spoil the design when we look through the transparency. So there you can see the detail. That's how it's going to stand for us. Come on. And oops. Right. Okay. My thing's not quite level at the bottom. So let's just get you level. There we go. So what we've done is, I've just missed it by a tiniest little bit. So I need another tree. So we would try and keep the back just behind the trees, so that when you've got it stood like that, and it will stand. Whoops. Come on. Stand up. Why won't you stand? There. When it stands, gremlins again. You've got that really giving you that, you can see that lovely finish. And it just is. So you've got somewhere to write, and you've also got somewhere to actually put this down and make it into your stand. With the gremlins. Go. Yeah, there's gremlins. There are gremlins in here today. This is crazy. This is the kind of thing when I'm at home. Oh, we're just talking about the building. That's crazy. That's driving me nuts now because it stood a minute ago. I've done something to it. Right. Worse. And what should be happening is, law of physics means the weight of the detail on this side will be naturally dragging the bauble that way. But because I've put the trees and I've also got the stand on this side, that should be balancing it. So do you know what? There's always more than one way to win. And so I'm just going to go into the acetate and take off the bottom of that bauble. And now it definitely won't go anywhere. See? Right. Just, yeah, there you go. Huh. See? But our baubles, just imagine having these sitting on the mantelpiece. They're going to look absolutely stunning. Right, let me do you a couple of other things. Let's see if I can do this right without it going wrong. So what I've got here is I've got a couple of this beautiful design, and this is the whole wreath. And what I've done here is I've just cut into part of it. So this is going to become my decoupage. Now, to make the decoupage really easy, I'm just going to literally snip out the parts of it that are the sort of background, if you like, keep the foliage and keep the foliage and the holly. So has anybody got any questions? Please ask questions as we go along. And I also, don't forget, we're going to be doing these more free classes. So when we come to those, we're just about within days of putting up where you can register for each of them individually. So we'll get that detail up for you. Also, can I just share, Diane's husband is okay. She had to rush off the other night instead of doing her Zoom class. And it's now rescheduled for the 10th of August. I've got a little landlocked piece of cardstock there I needed to get rid of. It's been rescheduled for the 10th of August. And anybody that's booked on it, we will be getting in touch with you and giving you all the details of that. Right, this one, I'm going to go all the way over here because I need another one of these layered on top. This isn't going to be strong enough for what I want to share with you. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my fingers like this, and you'll notice with what I'm doing, I'm getting the glue on the front and the back. So I want it well covered. And then I've got this one to go on the front, and that's going to go directly on top. So I'm just going to get that lined up, and that's giving me a really good, and you can see here that I'm just bringing all that together. I love the way that you guys talk to your projects as well. It's just, oh gosh, I talk to myself all the time. Carl's always coming in going, sorry, did you say something? I'm like, no. Sorry, why did you think I did? Let's get that bit of glue off. And just going to line up these little pieces here so that this is all together. So there we've got that, it's perfect. On the back, I've still got some gluey elements. I'm going to use that to just strengthen this part of the design. It won't be quite enough, so I'll put a bit more on. So it's quite a lot actually, but never mind, that'll be fine. I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to show you how to get some icicles on here, on top of this. So we're going to put some icicles on, and how to glitter them. And the icicles are going to be made from our silicone or our glue gel. So I'm just going to make sure that's all together, which it is. And this is just, and so I can keep that heart raised, I'm going to go back with some foam. So pick a piece where there's no glue gel and it's dry, and that will make this work really well. Let's go a bit higher, so we'll get some depth to it. So I'm going to go back over there with that. Bless you, Andrew. And there we go. Right, now this is so much sturdier than it was a couple of minutes ago, and I'm really happy with the way that I've got that extra bit of support. This part in the middle is the weakest, just here. So this is where I'm going to use my little robin. So, but before we put him on, I need to just do this bit of glittering. So, and it's going to be I'm going to have to do it all in one go because I haven't got, where's my glitter gone? I haven't got a time to let it dry. So I should have done this earlier, but I didn't think of it until just now. Oh, okay, it's there. So, right, there you go. That's what you're actually getting in the kit, everybody. And if you do want to get it, remember you get special deals because you're special. So Nest members, yours is just £53.99. Right, okay. So what I've got now is I've got my wreath, and this is ready for me to do the work with. I've also got the hanger that is from the one day, do you know, you'll come on one of these lives and go, what's happened to her? She's organised. This hanger here is going to be what we're going to use to hang the whole thing. But look, it's all floppy. So I want to show you a little trick for that. So first of all, we want to create some icing on here, some snow. And not just some snow, but also to be able to put some glitter on it as well. So I'm just going to use something like a pokey tool, pair of tweezers, a fine tip applicator. It doesn't really matter what it is. And I'm just literally dabbing this on. Don't put it on with a brush. If you put it on with a brush, it doesn't look as good. So if you've got gesso in a tube, then squeeze a bit out and get it so that you can just put it on like I am. You can see I'm being quite random. Just put a little bit over the berries. It doesn't have to be perfect, and a little bit here and here. And I'm going to go here. I'm not taking it on this back piece, this back panel, because this is where I want the story to be focused, just on this part here. I think I'm probably happy with that. So I'll just wipe that off. And now we will go to our sparkle. And I'm going to use the holographic one. And just, I think this is half price at the moment. So really good value. So I'm chosen to get something that's got this little bit of sparkle in it. I'm just going to push that into the design and then tap it off. So look at how it's made this stand out, and this part has stayed flat because we haven't glittered it and we haven't put snow on it. So that's the effect that we're wanting. I'm just going to put that back in just put it back in the pot. There. Didn't miss a bit. Get rid of that. Let you just see how pretty that is. So you can see where that sparkle's just sort of bringing that to life, which looks fabulous. Now we need 2 robins. So these are the thing that's going to work this. And any white gesso will do this. And it looks like snow. It's not too puffy. You can get as much detail with it as you want. So I'm looking at where his paws and where his head are touching. Okay, so his head is going to touch up there and his paws down there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on his paws up to his ankles. And I'm just going to pop him. His tail's going to go inside there and I'm going to pop his head like that. Now that does make it sturdy. But if you get yourself another one and this one, a little bit of glue, bit on his beak, back of his head, and I'm now going across that leaf. So, and this is the other thing. So you don't get double beaks, take his beak off, so I can move that bit of glue back. And then he goes, that paw goes there, that one goes there, and he goes on like that. So we've made it really sturdy. He's only got 2 paws. And look now, look how much stronger that is than it was before. It's proper, and I can hold it up and I can wiggle it and it's really, really strong. So that is ready to put inside an aperture. And if you pick something like just a really simple aperture like I've got here, that just look, you can see just how pretty that looks, really delicate. And so to make this up, all I would do is I'm going to fold over the edges of this cardstock. So I've got a border. I'm going to do the same thing here. If you've got your cutting mat, your scoring mat at home, then do that. So you've got, that's my card, that's it, it's going to stand. I've then got my design that's going to sit just there on the mat. And this is the string that's going to hold it all together. So that piece of string needs encapsulating inside. And to encapsulate it, we would take a little piece of the red liner tape, put that in, make sure it's inside in exactly the right place, and just tape that in place. And I'm just going to take off the backing so that when I then close this up, that will hold together like that. I've got a tiny little bit of it over the edge, so I'm just going to trim that away. Just there, get you from there. Now we're ready to see where this is going to go, and I want it so that it's sort of right in the middle of the design. So it's hanging from the center, which is there, and just making sure I'm happy with it. So I'm just going to open that up. I don't want to lose my place. So open it up, get that central. I've got a couple of little bits that will come over. Take my liner tape and attach that there and a bit higher up. So there. Then I'm just going to turn this back over so we can see where we're going. Just get rid of that bit of glitter. And you can see I've just got in trouble for me working on top of that. And now we're ready to use our other elements to finish off this design. So first of all, I've got all of these pieces of holly. So I'm just going to take a few of them, and I'm going to put a little piece of mistletoe in his beak. So that's the piece that I'm going to put in there, I think. Let me just look at it and see. Yeah, I want to make it a bit smaller, I think. So I'm going to just snip it there. And I'm going to open his beak by snipping into it. Oops. Missed his beak and snipped the other bit. That is going to go inside there, like that. So he's holding the mistletoe. And we'll just glue that on the back so that it stays in place. So I just put a little bit of glue on there. And it's the little things that really make these cards special, because, you know, they're only tiny little finishing touches. But look, he's got a little bit of mistletoe in his mouth. It's super cute. Right, now we need to decorate up here. So we're going to take away the tape that I've got. And if you were watching earlier, I showed you how to go round a circle with the red liner tape. It's well worth you keeping that and having that as, you know, sort of to remind you what to do. I'm taking this so it's going over the edge here. So I want to make sure I've got some of it over the edge. So I'm just going to use a bit more of my glue, and perhaps I'll save the less full ones for when I'm not doing Facebook Live. Just for anybody who's just joined us, this is our new collection, Through the Frosted Glass, and in fact it's going on Create and Craft at the weekend, but you guys are getting it before anybody else does if you want it. It's been really popular all week, but it is going to go on Create and Craft. I've got a fabulous project and plan lined up. Right, so I'm also going to put my, oh no I'm not, I'm going to save that. I'm just going to put my holly berries on, and that one I think can go there. So we'll get some foam behind this one. So all I've done is shape it a little bit with my fingers just to give you that little bit of extra shape there. And I need another piece up here, and I might want to, yes, let's do that. I'm going to put this piece of foliage in here. You always think you've got too much and you don't need any more of things like that, and you look at it and go, I don't need that, and then you see it and you look at how it's going to look, and it makes all the difference. Let me just show you that from the full side so you can see what that's looking like. So hang on a minute, you need, oh blinking heck, my tape didn't stick. Hang on, I'll do that just to here. Just 1 second. I'm just going to make this stick. I'm not going to wait for it to dry. It was sandwiched. Right, so here we go. So there it is. So hanging inside the aperture like that. It just needs to come out a little bit. But this is my card front, but it isn't finished by any means. So I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to pop this piece up here. Now, we always get asked by you, and who's asking the question, Andrew, please? Oh, Jai Wright. I don't know, I hope I've got your name pronounced properly. If I haven't, it's Andrew's fault. Are we going to be doing this as SVGs? Absolutely. They're almost, they're with the manufacturer at the moment, and we will launch them. I think we're going to launch them on here first, so you guys will get them before anybody else. Right, the last bit of this design, I'm going into the collection that I had at the beginning of the week, and I'm going to put myself a little scene here. And so what I'm going to do to save time is come all the way across the middle with that tape, and then I'm just going to go into all of my different little pieces, and this is what I'm looking for. So I've got a little bridge, we'll pop you there. I've got a little house, which I think you need to go behind the bridge up there. Then I've got a church, and my church is going to go just there. And all of these elements are from the collection that I had on, which was called Christmas Eve. And I know loads of you have actually already got your Christmas Eve collection. Look at how it's grounded, the design. Doesn't it look good, the way that's just finished it all off? So just folded over a piece of foam, so that I can get some extra dimension. I'm going to put this little Christmas tree, I'm going to stick just there. So just making sure he's going to stick. I'm going to take this one. Now this one's, look, is quite big to stick there. That's too high, that piece. I'm going to just reduce that and get a smaller piece of foam. It's going to spoil it for the sake of a second or two. Let's pop that down and get this a little bit lower. So we'll just get the back off this tape. I can feel it, come on. Why don't you want to come off? Oh, there it is. Right, so that's my tree there. This one is going to go up here, so it's really coming to the front. So I'm going to take a much higher, bigger piece of this to come just here. Not worrying about if it goes over the edge, that's absolutely fine, because remember, that's what my card front's looking like. And I've still got some tape showing just there, so I need something that's going to fill in that gap. So remember, when you get your bigger trees, you could cut into this and I could make myself a smaller tree if I wanted to, that could go just there. But I've got these little fences. So if I were to put that actually onto some foam, so something a little bit higher than I had earlier, than the last piece I used, and it's a bit bigger piece, and I put that just there, so you can see now it's leading into it. I'm just going to trim off the bottom, and I'm going to go back into my gesso and just finish off here and link the design. So I'm just linking this part of it with, don't use a brush for this, guys, it just doesn't look as good. It looks flatter. I'm just going to put a little bit going up the tree, bit on the top of there, bit just here. It just finishes it off perfectly. A little bit on there, look at this, just on the tops of the things, bit on the there, finish it off, bit on my Christmas tree, and we're done. Right, so I'm now going to hold this up and I'm going to turn that round, and absolutely, oh my gosh, do you know, the only one thing I want to make a change to is I'm just going to undo that bit of tape at the back, and I'm just going to turn my robin very slightly. So if we just hold on to it, and let's move my robin so he's a little bit more upright, and he's there. There he is. So there's the design. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that just the most fabby design? So you can see there. Right, yeah, I've just got time to show you how to make the hanging baubles. So there you go, look at that, doesn't that look fabulous? So that one's hanging in a bauble. Then I've got everything cut out. Where's my ribbons got? Ready to do this. So let's just move this out the way. It's here. Right, okay. So this bauble that we did earlier, I'm now going to take this off the back of the design because I'm going to use this as one of them. And I'm then going to make another couple. So here we go. So I'll just take that bit off. That perfect. So I need that piece of card so you can see what I'm doing. Right. So in here, in one of these, I've got baubles. Here they are. So you need 3 different sizes of baubles. So I've got 1, 2, 3. They're my different sizes. I've also got them, I've got the acetate versions to go over the top if you want to do them with acetate. And I've also got the paper ones and the acetate. Let me get that one better. That's better. There, let me get you off there. There we go. We'll use those 3. Okay, so we now need to actually design 2 more of them. So first of all, if you want to do these, I'm going to show you the sample that I've got, because there's so many different examples and options of how you do this. So let's get this, because there's loads of them. Here we go. Right, so first of all, they're all on red ribbons. And the other thing that makes these unique is that they're decorated on both sides. So Andrew, can we cut to a wide if that's possible? And I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to untangle them, because that one's, let's just get that a bit untangled. It's got one bauble. Where are you? It's a bit like getting the fairy lights out and trying to untangle them. So this was Amanda's idea, by the way, everybody. I need to just give her the credit for it. You've seen some lovely samples from our design team. They're just fabulous designers. Right, so each of them, when you do them, they are double-sided, so you need double-sided elements. The secret to making sure they look tidy is just having the back of the design either inked with an ink pad. Depending on your cardstock, you can use alcohol markers, you can use your watercolours, or you can use your Cadence acrylics. But you need to make sure that both sides of the design are actually done properly and are covered. Then the actual embellishment that goes on it, which has jumped all the way over there, it starts off like this. So I've got decide how long you want the individual baubles to hang. And the way that I would work this out is I've got my piece of ribbon, which I've tied together at the top. I'm then going to look at where the individual baubles are going to go. So I probably have this tall one would go about there. This middle one is going to go, let me just move that up, about there. And the small one is going to go down here. So you can see how you've got that all together. And then the next thing that you'll do is you'll pull together some ribbon, and you might want to put some beads through it, do lots of little bows, use a hot melt glue gun to get this all together, and that is how we're going to decorate the very top of it. But the first thing we need to do is create ourselves a second or 2 more sets of baubles. This one, when I did it, we put a stand on the back. So now to make this work for this design, I need to actually decorate the back of the design. If I use my vellum on there, because it's translucent, it doesn't distract too much from the actual design. So it gives me the option, if I put that on there, to be able to make this look pretty. So let's use this one first, and we'll do this. So some tape on that bit, and there. That will probably be enough to just hold this, but let's make sure it's covering the tape on the other side. So it's covered the Christmas tree. It's covering that part of it too. And I know I've got a little bit more detail. I can put my little robin in there, and I'll do that by putting him on some foam. So we'll just put him on a little bit of foam to get some height. And you won't see the foam because, first of all, it's all the way through the rest of the back of the bauble, but there he is, just in there. So we've got a little robin on there, and those two are then, we've got the detail on that one. The second one, let's look at some other things that we can do with this. Well, first of all, I can put this design inside like I've got here and layer up my detail directly on top of it. So it's absolutely encapsulated inside the actual bauble itself. And then you can either leave the detail on the outside like I've got here, or you can actually trim that back so it looks like it's just fitting inside the bauble. When I turn it over to get this side looking good, what you then have to do is start off with, let me just make sure I've got the right size, start off with the right size piece. And this is where you would see there's little bits of it that have been coloured with the pens so that you're not left with white design just there. But also, the other thing is, if I put both of these together, and let me just glue them in place so I can show you what I mean. If I just glue this bit first, just get this one just there like that, and then I take this one and it's going to go there about there. I'm just going to glue that in, but I'm doing this quite quickly, everybody, like that. Right, so I'm just looking on the other side to see where it looks most aesthetically pleasing. So if I move that holly leaf round to there, it actually looks okay. What have I got on the other side? Actually, that looks okay too. So now you trim this off. So you're then going to go round the bauble, and the best way of doing it is to definitely put another one on top so I can see where I'm going. And let's just go round here like this, just going through it, my detail there. So just get rid of that little bit. So I've now got that one on one side, and the acetate makes it look like it's sort of like a glass bauble. And on the other side, apart from that little piece, which I need to take out, it actually looks quite good too. So let's have a look at this one, which way I'm going to put this. I think I'm going to put it on this side. So on here, again, what we do, we use that little trick we did earlier where we put the tape along here. So we do it multiple times so it looks like it's meant to be there. So that's 1, 2, as long as you go more than 3, I think it's okay. But I'll do the third one just there. So that's on that piece. I'm just checking this shape because it's not a perfect circle. I'm just going to go around that. You could go back and put your die over the top of this and pass that through your die cutting machine, and that would actually look all right. And you know, that in its own right on the vellum works really well and would make a lovely Christmas tree ornament. So all of them, I've reinforced the top of the bauble, because if you reinforce this bit, then when you put the ribbon through, you know that you've got double thickness and it's less likely to tear. So that's there. So then you need your little bit of glue on the top of that. This one, I'll just get those little, make sure your acetate stays nice and clean because mine hasn't. I'm just going to pop that down, check that that's in place and get good adhesion just there. Just going to check it. I think I might have just trimmed this bauble a little bit, so I'm just going to trim it to make sure it matches. So there's my second one. So here's the first one, here's the second one. They look completely different. Then we'll do a third one that we've got here. And in this one, I'm going to build a little mini scene. And I've already got a mucky piece of acetate, but never mind. Oh, where's my little one? Oh, it's there. Oh, it's clean. Good. How good's that? Right, so in this one, I'm going to put my Christmas trees. So I'm just going to put a couple of Christmas trees and one little house or piece of decoration. So where are your houses? Here. So I need something quite small and delicate. And I'm going to go with this one. And I'm just going to cut it off there. And that is going to go onto my bauble like that. Now I've got to think about which layer it goes on. It's going to go on this one. So it's going to go on that layer there. So that bit first, a little bit of glue. And thank you everybody for watching. I know the gremlins were in this morning. It was a right nightmare. They've messed around with us all day today. We could not get anything to work. It was fun, Andrew, wasn't it? He says no. It was fun for us watching. Right, so I'm just going to get a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there, and I need that one there, this little one just there. So there's my little house and the bauble. I'm just going to turn this over here, snip those pieces and snip this. So I've got to take that round to there. So that's what it looks like now, which looks super cute. Turn this over and I need to get another tree across this bit. So I'm going to use this one and pop that there. So I'm going to put that little bit to there, pop that one in, and then just turn it and cut, trim, just there and there. And you can see the little white bit that you've got in there just looks like it's snow on the edge of the branches. But I've still got this little bit here that needs a bit more tree, and I could use that. So what I do there is I'm going to snip it, put the glue on, and just tuck this behind that one. So I've just used up that spare little bit that I'd got, and I've tucked it behind. Now for the house, I'm just looking to see whether I've got anything that I could use that would work here. Probably if I take my chimneys down, and I'm going to take that chimney down and that roof down. Let me see how that works. And I've just got to look at it on the other side and make sure that needs to be down there. Okay, so that's not the best house to use. So let's look at one of the others, see if we can get a better match with what I've got here. Yes, that looks better immediately. So I'm going to bring that one in. So let me put that one on. So, and then just here. There, right. So I've got a little bit of a shadow there, but I don't think that matters. This one looks great because I've just got the little bit of the shadow there. I'm going to trim this round here. And again, this one is going to get stuck to the acetate. So 1 there, 2, 3. So, and we've got the third one. So all 3 of those. Then a little bit of glue on the top, just up there. I'm going to take the back off. Please pay a little tiny bit more attention than I'm doing because I'm just doing this quite quickly. So I want to make sure I can get it finished in the time. So that, oops. That's my, oh no, it's going wrong noise, but it's actually all right. So look at that one. So we've got there and there. That little loop's still got its bit in. I'll get that out in a bit. So we've got that one, we've got that one, and we've got this one. By putting the acetate on, it makes them look more dimensional, particularly these two where everything's sandwiched inside. Then on this side, I've got my robins, I've got my flowers, and I've got another little scene. So they're all of those for me to be able to work with. Now I'm going to tie them onto my strings. So the smallest one, which is this one, and I don't know why I've got a bit of acetate in there that's not come out. What have I got that I can use? Right, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm actually going to just glue it in place. So I'm going to make a little knot there, and I'm going to take a piece of liner tape and I'm going to place it on there, and then I'm going to make another little knot over it like that, and then that piece of tape is going to go there. So I've got that actually hanging, so I've used the knot to hold it down, and then this piece is going to go back up there, so it makes it into sort of like a little loop, but most of that is going to be disguised by this. So this is our smallest one, so we need to put, I need to use the, oops, just taking that one. So I need to use my berries of the smaller size, and that will give me a better result. So I'll just get rid of that bit of landlocked tape or thing. So now I can trim that piece back to that knot. So the knot's there to make sure it doesn't slip. So then I can just pop a little bit of glue there, and that will hold. Then turn it over, and remember to use your coloured pens if you've got them, to just get rid of the whiteness of any bits that are overlapping. So I'm just going to put that there. I need another one of these. They're not quite symmetrical, but they are symmetrical enough for you to get, you know, a reasonable, you can see they look not too bad when you put them in. If you get that little bit of green behind them, then I need that one to go there. I need another one up here. So that one would go up to the top, and that one's got a little bit of white on it. Let me get one that hasn't. That one there. I'm just going to put this on a bit of foam for speed. Then you'll build these on all of them. So every one of them will get built up like I'm doing now and decoupaged up. You can see this one, look, it's got lots of extra elements on it, giving it more detail. You can put sparkles on them if you want to. You can bring the elements down a little bit into the picture, which I could do just there, which will hide that little bit of white. And don't forget the green, just go to the back of the design and just put a little bit of green marker on it. On this side, you can see that's looking quite nice. Again, I'd come down with a little bit more of the green. So I'm just going to go a tiny bit there, and let's do another little one. Where are you? Bit of fern I've got somewhere. Here's a little one. Put you there. So you can see how you're going to build up that design, but don't forget, just a little bit of green on the back, and it just softens that white and makes it look more authentic. We do the same with the next two, so that's one of them, like that. I'm just going to do this one, which I can go through there and just knot. So that's why I had to knot the other one so it didn't slip. So I'll just knot this one. And I've got some more elements and pieces here. What have I got? So I've got a little robin that could go somewhere. I can have him. I've got loads of holly. So I'm just going to put a piece of holly. No, I'm not. I think that'll look better if I used one of these bigger sprigs. So I'm just going to put these bigger sprigs on. So let's go here. So I'll put you on and take some of that glue off because it will stick quicker. Get that on there. That will stick quicker. And then, so what I'm doing by lifting the glue off and letting it stick quicker, starting to go off on those little patches that I've got there. And that means that it will stay and stick. Once it starts to go off, it's just going to stick a little bit faster because it's still tacky, but it's not over wet. So that's another piece just there. That one, I'll just tuck that in, and let's get that taped down here. We'll just tape that bit. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying and watching, because I know that we've run over a little bit, and I do appreciate it. So I'm just going to put that one there, and this one will go there, and that one will go there. So we've got now 2 of our baubles are there, done. And then our third one is going to go up high here. So minimum of 3. If you've got 4 or more, do 4 or more. It's really up to you. But if you double layer them and one of the layers is acetate, then I pretty much can guarantee that this will not, you won't end up with it breaking, and it's quite sturdy and strong. And so I'm just going to put that tape across there to hold that down, snip that piece out, and then let's come into here. So I'm going to take that bit, oops, take the back off. So I'll take that piece, and I've got another piece here for the other side that's going to go just there. I'm going to sit my little robin just there because he's at the top of the tree. So we'll pop him on, and he's going to go just here, there. So it looks like he's actually sitting on the tree. Then I'm going to turn this over, and we'll repeat the process. And for speed, I'm going to use my tape. So that's here. And take this off. And then, so we'll snip there. And that one is going to go about there. This one is going to get snipped in the middle and go about there. And then finally, we've got one last piece that will go there. Right, so now we've got our 3 baubles that are all hanging beautifully. So you can see that we've got the different heights and different lengths, so you can see all of those. If I just put this up so you can see them. And then finally, I've got a lovely piece of ribbon that would go right at the top there and show off all of our little designs. So you can see those. Oops, let's get those so you can get them like that. And once it's in front of a mirror, a window, they don't move around as much as I've got mine moving around. So you'll be able to sort of display them and keep them all in the right position. So hanging baubles, hanging apertures with the scenes at the bottom, doing scenes as we've got here. Whatever it is that you do for Christmas, then just enjoy sending them. And let's make this year a year where we send even more Christmas cards than ever, because I absolutely think that would be a fun thing for us all to do. And I am trying to set up a Christmas card swap, so I'll keep you informed about that. So anybody that, we've got loads of deals on Highlight Crafts at the moment, go on there and find yourself the best deal you possibly can. If you really like this collection, then it's called Through the Frosted Glass. Then click on collections and it'll take you to it. And then just so that you guys know, I'm going to be back on Create and Craft on Friday, Friday night at 8 o'clock. I am going to have both of these collections with me, and another one that's called, well, you have to wait because that's a secret. No, I can't remember, is the truth. And on Sunday, I'm going to be in Seamless Sunday with Debbie Shaw, and we're going to be showing you how to use all the dies you've already got to make a applique. So imagine that's another thing, you know, 3 reasons to buy. We're giving you another one you didn't even know when you started. Lots of fun, lots of love to everybody. I hope you got something really lovely and tasty lined up for dinner. I'm hoping that we're going to barbecue some pork chops. So that's really sounding good, isn't it? In the meantime, why do I always talk about food when I've got all you guys together? It's because Andrew and I are always hungry together. Don't know why it is. Apparently he's going to have pie. But anyway, lovely to have your company. Thank you so much, everybody. God, I look really tired and washed out. I need to get some new makeup. I know. I'll see if I can borrow Amanda's. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Lots of love. Thank you, and God bless. Good night.